if you take a snapshot picture of the school at any given time, you'll see about 250 at the moment from over 45 countries in the world speaking 50 or so languages. And the school exists to welcome, to nurture, to educate, and then to manage the transition of young people who are of both immigrant and refugee background. The dominant refugee intake at the moment is from Middle Eastern countries, and the most significant one of those are the young Hazara people from Afghanistan, and many of those are young male unaccompanied humanitarian entrants.
Okay, my name is Kafala and I'm from West Africa, country called Liberia.
I'm Sarah Karimi. I came from Iran.
My name is Nakalim. I'm student at New Pila.
My name is Syed Subhan Zaidi. I'm a global citizen.
So they have no parents or guardians in this country.
Which means that their families may be deceased through war, or are still in another country in refugee camps.
These are the kids who are sort of attached to the headlines on the world news. You know, you might read about a number of Hazara people killed in Quetta, Pakistan. These are those people's families. These are the people who are being persecuted and killed for nothing other than being the wrong people at that place at that time.
At the moment, I think most of the time about my family. How can I respond to that?
How can you help them?
Yeah,
Are they in a safe place?
no, they are in Pakistan.
I miss you too much, you know. My family is there in Pakistan. I'm here and I'm able to try my feeling sad, you know. It's too worrying for me.
A large number of the children in room 15 are unauthorised maritime arrivals, or what the public would call boat people, which means that they have had to flee their country in a hurry. Usually if they have a parent remaining, perhaps the mother, she's had to get a loan from a moneylender for the money for this journey, which she will be paying back for the rest of her life.
And so that journey begins then where the young person escapes into another country, for example, into Pakistan or into Iran, and then finally makes that journey to Indonesia where the people smuggling operation takes place. Then the very dangerous journey to Australia by boat, and only to find when you are seeking asylum and seeking protection that suddenly you find yourself behind barbed wire.
But they need to do that journey because to stay where they were means imprisonment or death. Some of them have come from Afghanistan, being jailed by the Taliban, and had to see the torture and murder of others beside them, as well as endured torture themselves. I mean, and these are children we're talking about, so they have had very big lives before they come here.
Divide by 10, divide by 100. This is very important because many of you will be going out and perhaps doing a trade or something like that, and you'll need to be able to work in millimetres, centimetres, metres and kilometres.
And here they are trying to grapple with being ready at every level.
And then the boys go about the business of coming to school and doing their grocery shopping and cooking their meals and managing their lives while learning the second language.
It's a huge ask for a young person of that age, and they are so affected by absolutely missing their families and missing their countries.
So we identify that they may need a pathway, a different pathway to what some of the other students were experiencing.
Matthew has installed new lights, PowerPoints and smoke detectors. Past, present or future? Past, there the verb has ed on the end, it's telling us in the past.
These students are competing with students that have had 12 years of formal education.
And the kind of catch up. You know, when you look at a 16-year-old in Australia, they've been learning the language in a school context for 11 years.
And what does it do actually? What's the main function of your heart? What did we learn? It pumps the blood. Is that right? To where? Can you tell me where is small intestine located in your body?
So they're still getting their mathematics, they're still getting their science.
No, he got it. No, that's very good. Excellent.
Every activity is really geared to developing their proficiency in the English language because it's the key to everything in this country.
Some of them have not had any formal education in their own country.
Yeah, we'll have to stop the schooling because of the war and leave the country, so it was so bad.
There was a scary life, yeah, and bomb blasting, killing. It was impossible that we get education.
Refugee people have really lost their country, and in our case, they've lost childhoods, they've lost families, they've lost the chance of being an adult young person in their own country.
One of the difficulties with trauma and with living in war zones or having to flee is that you lose your sense of the future.
I think when we're trying to get the students a future that is doable for them and we're dealing with how they're living in the present, we've also got to look into their past. But we can't ever diminish the impacts of this kind of earlier suffering. Really must be dealt with. Trauma counselling or trauma education is an integral part of settlement.
They often have many symptoms of trauma and stress, and HEAL is an integrated art and music therapy program which takes care of refugee youth who come to the school.
The advantage of it is that it's on site.
It's a great opportunity to start to imagine futures, to start to play with the idea about who you might be in 5 years' time or 10 years' time, for people who have never really thought beyond how am I going to get where I need to go today. Of course, in art psychotherapy we use every art method available. So the sand play is a very popular way of working in HEAL. What we do is we sit around the sandbox and we have a number of figures which are on the shelf for telling a story which is very hard to tell. So an example of a story which sometimes comes from the African kids, and it might be that we have the family in the box here.
It was another sunny day. We were playing outside with our father while Mom was in the house cooking lunch. And then we heard the trucks and the music. The soldiers were coming. So we ran. Everybody was running in different directions to escape the soldiers. We ran and ran, and we ran to the jungle. It was a long way. Our mother ran a different way. We didn't know where she had gone. We didn't see our mother after that. Our mother was gone. We were in the jungle. It was very hard to find food and water. We were there a long time. There were sounds of wild animals, and we were very scared. We missed our mom, but our father helped us. When we came out of the jungle, we went back to our house. But when we made it back, the house was gone. The soldier had burned down the house, but luckily the soldier had gone as well. Then because we have no house and no people in our village anymore, we began to walk. We walked and walked a very long way. For many days and many nights, it was a very long journey. And then we were lucky the UN had seen our truck for us, and it took us to the refugee camp. And then we felt a little bit safe. but we didn't see our mother again.
That's a story I've heard too many times. Then we begin to look at what the person has gained from that, to look at how those strengths might help them in their settlement in this new country.
I mostly think about my future and how can I find a job, how can I learn English and help my family.
The main things that keep these students in room 15 awake at night, it's definitely that missing of their family and wanting to sponsor their family. That's definitely number one. And the second one is, please, please, can you help us to get a part-time job so that we can send money to our families?
They're craving to know how that they can get into the workforce.
We decided to run a pilot program in partnership with the Smith family and TAFE.
We identified an opportunity for some students to undertake some industry education and vocational learning, particularly those in room 15. Some of these students have worked and they have skills, but they just need opportunities to help them with their pathways after Milperra. We're taking students out into workplaces, and more recently we've been to Coles Distribution. The students were able to tour the facility. One of the focuses of the program is to help the students understand that when they enter a workplace there'll be things that they'll need to be cognizant of, like induction and safety.
It's very important for me because living in Australia you have to know the rules and the regulation. So I think room 15 is helping me know a lot of stuff. So it's very important to me in my life.
And in addition to that, to try to explore the idea of working in a team, or the things that Australian employers would be looking for in young people.
We've done a lot of work on teamwork. The students go, we work in small teams. So the rock climbing is a great way to build that team cohesion. It's a great way for us to break down barriers within the classroom as well.
The students at Milperra generally haven't had the opportunities that you and I might have had. They're craving for opportunities to learn, and when we help them learn, when we take them to places or people come in and talk to them and support that classroom learning, they're seeing opportunities.
My goals in the future is to become an international businessman. I will study hard and I will reach to my goals.
My plan after room 15 is to go to high school, and after high school go to TAFE and start fighting my goals, like becoming an electrician.
If we look at the refugees who came after World War II, and we settled them well, and the outcomes for the nation have been brilliant and documented. And my view is that if we receive the newest refugees with that same hope and faith and good service, that they are also already wonderful members of our society. No human being comes with a guarantee. What I can guarantee is I have never met a refugee person, adult or child, who doesn't passionately love Australia because it gave them hope and it gave them a country.
I think it would be very difficult for the students if they didn't have a Milperra.
You know, they're amazingly resilient. Here they are, turning up at school every day, ready to learn.
They have so much to offer. We've got room. Got room at the inn.
I have answered that I am a global citizen. Wherever I will go, there is my home, and all Mother Earth is for all the human beings, and wherever you want to go, you can go and you can live.
Milperra is like my home, and room 15 is my entrance to my home, like that. When I go to room 15, I relaxed in here. I'm very comfortable in room 15.
Yeah, I enjoy the peace and freedom. Yeah, enjoy the peace.